We are witnessing a masterclass in the markets. Really, nobody has no idea what's going on, except for Mr. Breedwell.
Are you talking about me?
Because the Iran-U.S. conflict right now is sending the market all over the place, and we have a lot of news to break down today. We missed you guys last week. We'll see you in today's episode. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to today's show. Man, what a time to be alive.
I love it.
This is what a time to be an investor. What a time to be alive. It just is. We're witnessing like a historical time in the world right now. And it's sending shockwaves throughout, obviously, the Middle East, throughout the U.S., throughout just the globe in general. And we're going to unpack really what's going on today, because as we were talking right now, the market towards the end of the day popped on news of a potential deal / ceasefire, whether or not that gets inked, or Trump's tweets over the last few days have been somewhat unhinged based on what you would think a sitting president would be saying. I don't know if there's ever been any president that, any world leader that has talked the way Trump has, and he is posturing, and nobody knows what head fake, which direction, what's going on. So we're going to try and unpack that here today. We've also got some additional updates and what's going on. We'll obviously talk about CPI, rate cuts, what's going on in the markets, some updates on the real estate front, crypto front. So most importantly, we got to obviously dive in on what has been happening with the Iran-U.S.-Israel conflict. That's been the biggest thing over the course of the last few weeks. Let me see if I can I've got so much in my sheet here to kind of dive in, and how I can
sheet in your sheet.
Sheet in my sheet. Why don't we start with what's going on right now with oil and just the energy crisis? Because that seems to be, based on what Trump is tweeting, what's driving the volatility, and when it drops or when it spikes, the market responds somewhat accordingly, hedging some of the positions that, institutional capital and retail obviously is not really moving the needle. But what are you seeing, and just get us up to speed on what's happened over the course of the last few weeks with this conflict?
So last Thursday, call me crazy, I decided, because I had onboarded some new clients, and typically when I onboard new clients, I try to, if there's a good time to deploy capital into the market, 99% of the time I'm just we're just reallocating, getting things rocking. But it was a little bit choppy, and I had some opportunity to be more tactful, per se. And so I was sitting in ultra short-term bonds and low duration bond ETFs, vegging things out. I decided last Thursday morning that was my time to get back in. Probably I got most of the money in around 7 a.m., so about 10 a.m. Eastern time here. And then we had a huge rip in the market, up on positive news. We had a carry through yesterday. And then today, we had a pullback, but then all that pullback, I think it troughed at 1.211 midday. It was fully eaten back up in the last about half hour of trading by institutional and large traders and hedge funds, betting that there was going to be, in my opinion, not a ceasefire, but an extension on the ceasefire discussion. Yep. I still think that's probably what's going to happen, especially with the...
basically the 8 p.m. deadline he gave tonight. The tweet that I woke up to today was that
2 hours and 45 minutes away from that deadline as we're recording this. So we're up to the skin of our teeth right now.
Which his comment, and it's sending shockwaves kind of throughout the world, politics, all of it, is he was going to essentially wipe Iranian civilization off the planet. God bless the Iranian people. Yesterday it was open the strait, you fucking bastards. And I mean, just some kind of wild tweets from a...
I mean, that's adult talk. I mean, I'm not really, I'm more worried about the wiping off the, I don't like the regime that's there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
Well, there's certain people there that do. So anybody that messes with the current, or I don't know if they're even current anymore, they're past tense, which I say that laughing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
You become a leader of Iran right now, you get pretty much smoked in 72 hours. I'm of the opinion, like I said, it's going to end here pretty quickly. I think I told you when we were talking earlier, especially earlier this morning and throughout the past couple of days, I think it's posturing. I mean, typical of Trump. Now I was saying, a lot of people wouldn't have the balls to say, good or bad, that, hey, we're going to wipe off a civilization off the face of the earth. But I'm pretty sure he's doing that anchoring technique again, where he's going to say the most extreme things so that he can back off somewhere in the middle and still win in his book. And might even be taking a page out of Iran's book, where you're getting your ass handed to you, but you're just claiming that you're winning. So I really don't know. The propaganda, I mean, the memes that Iran is like, people are like, oh, they're winning because they're sending out all these memes and they're controlling the propaganda. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're getting fucked up. It's pretty bad. So I don't know how much more. I don't know where else it can go. Okay, we won, and we'll continue to win if we continue to bomb them. And we don't even have to continue. We can proxy bomb them via Israel, and we'll just sell them weapons. We'll say, oh, no, it's terrible, and we'll just go sell them the guns to do it. So that's what's going to happen if they continue. So for Iran, really bending the knee is the best way out. Do they want to continue doing what they normally do, which is try to rebuild and aggress again? I don't know. I think we should take a trip back in time to the 70s and see how, Iran was back then and maybe what it could be considering on what it has been. So time will tell. My favorite thing to say. I'm not thinking this is going to go much longer, though. Trump loves the stock market. He has an opportunity to crank the market up.
Yeah, I just can't see, knowing midterms are on the line, his legacy is on the line.
He's dusting off the Donald Pump suit.
He's the Donald. I mean, he's got some. I don't know. I think it's hard to read between the lines and really kind of eliminate a lot of the noise out there, because the noise is really loud right now, right? He's tweeting and his megaphone's super loud right now. All eyes on the world are on everything he does and says.
Signaling is more important than what he says. Well, and that's where I've become, I'm not saying I'm great at, but I'm saying I've focused on what he's signaling. I just think he's signaling that there's going to be an end to the war. It's going to end with terms that are indicative that we got in and completed our mission, and the Strait of Hormuz is not going to be unsafe to navigate, which is really, it's open. When people say it's closed, it ain't closed. It's just people don't feel safe going through it, right?
Right.
We had a French flagged tanker go through, oil tanker with no issue. So, and they're obviously a U.S. supporter. So, I don't know. It's just, when that time comes, and I think it's sooner rather than later at this point. Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs said today they don't think the war is going to end this month. So now I for sure think it is going to.
Isn't that funny, right? I've been reading The Art of War recently, because I think he's honestly playing a lot of strategy here that on the surface most people don't fully comprehend, right? I mean, we as civilians don't know half of the shit, most of the shit that's really going on behind the scenes until they want to let us know what's going on. And so I've been reading, Sun Tzu Art of War, just kind of I was like, oh shit, let me dust this thing off, right? Like it feels like, you know, it's fitting for what's going on in the world. It's fitting for some of the strategy and deals that I'm doing right now. And to paraphrase kind of this idea of like, believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very appropriate for times like right now. And I even saw like a clip with Andrew Tate recently, which again, don't agree with everything he says, but usually he's got some pretty like candid, pointed takes, and a lot of them are pretty accurate. Doesn't always, you know, align with the delivery that most people want to hear. But he even said, he goes, I think this is a lot of theater right now. And a lot of what Iran and Trump and Israel are doing is somewhat all co-coordinated together for some reposturing and some things that we probably don't know what those are right now and how that's going to play out, but it's going to be to the benefit of both of them. And so it's like, you know, whether that's true or not, whether this, I mean, he's got how many days left? I think he's got a handful of days left until he's at that 60-day constitutional threshold where he has to go to Congress.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, the argument can be made that he's going to not abide by the Constitution. I don't think that's going to be the case.
No.
I think that he's going to maybe play that line up in as far as he needs to get accomplished what he wants to get done. But that shot clock's running out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want to fuck with midterms. He doesn't want to fuck with people's, you know, stock portfolios or the stock market. He doesn't want to fuck with his legacy. Unless he really is just like unhinged, lost his marbles, and ultimately doesn't give a fuck anymore. And he's going to become King Donald and is going to stay in his position forever. He knows that all of those things are on the line, and people are paying attention now more than ever to everything he's doing. Now, whether he cares or not, who knows? But I got to believe and trust that there's some method to this madness that is going to be a net positive and benefit for the United States and hopefully for the world. So how that plays out, I don't know, but there's obviously a lot of concerns, a lot of, you know, data around how it's going to impact energy and how it's going to impact CPI and all these kind of things, right? So in the short term, how do you think and see people should be navigating times like right now? I know you mentioned like, hey, I think this is going to end in the next couple of weeks. That's kind of been your stance and prediction. What do you think people should do in the interim? How should they be positioning or hedging right now? And let's say that stance plays out. Like, what can we expect, you know, through the rest of the year when this dust really starts to settle?
So, I mean, I'm always about people having a plan with their investments. So I would say if you have a plan and that plan is proven to be successful, tested, I would stick to that plan. For people that are looking to invest and looking for opportunities for entry, I would say this is a good opportunity and kind of something looking you right in the face. When the market's down and it has an opportunity to go back up quickly, even if it's already recovered a little bit, you can still get in and benefit from that. That's why dollar cost averaging is really important. I think that if we get a extension, the market will rally green, but it's just going to be a regular relief rally. When we get a pullout and an end and a ceasefire, we're going to see some pretty great
green candles.
Green day. I would say probably to the tune of like 2 to 4%, somewhere in there on major indices like the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So that's big movement for those size of those indexes and what the component of them are, that makes them up is. I don't think we're getting a ceasefire or pullout tomorrow. So I think we're getting it, or today. I think it's going to be, I don't want to jinx it, but I think it's going to be an extension. Somehow they're going to make it all flowery, how it was, you know, to the benefit of the United States, or I don't know what they'll do, but there's going to be some sort of extension, I think. But the market was saying at the end of the day,
yeah,
crypto market's saying right now.
Since you and I just this is within the last 2 or 3 minutes. A deal is expected to be closed between U.S. and Iran tonight. This was broken by CNN. Details include a regional source has informed CNN that some good news is expected from both sides soon. Discussions are being steered directly by Pakistan's army chief. The White House said that Trump has been made aware of Pakistan's proposed ceasefire and that a response will come shortly. Oil prices are falling on the news, and U.S. stock market futures are now green going into the day. You can obviously verify that on your side. But to your point, it was centered around getting a deadline extension, not a deal. And obviously his 8 p.m. deadline of we blow you into, smithereens versus we find a deal. It sounds like they are just saying like, hey, we need more time. Let's cool the jets. What are you seeing on your side?
Nothing.
Nothing too significant.
Significant on the future side. We're green, but to the tune of the Russell's up 0.5%, which is really the most. On futures are up 43 basis points right now. S&P's up 12 basis points. NASDAQ is up 13. So we'll see.
How has the market looked, percentage-wise? Market's down over the last couple weeks.
Year to date, the market's down 3.4%.
3.4%, okay.
Fucking soft-handed, weak sellers out there freaking out.
No diamond
down. It's not even down 5%.
Well, and is that what? That's just
total return. It's probably down closer to like 3.1.
Is that institutional investors kind of just taking some profits? The uncertainty.
That's retail.
That's all retail driving those dips?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Whenever there's big extended losses, it's typically retail money and small traders. It's people getting out of the market and trying to time the market. Not that, I was talking to one of my clients the other day. He's like, because we're moving his account over, was about a $1.4 million account. And he was saying, hey, you're selling stuff though in a down market.
Yeah.
I thought we don't sell, we sell high, buy low. And I said, well, yeah, we would be doing the back half of that, right? Buying low. But when you do that when you have a plan that will work is established, right?
Yeah.
His plan was not going to work. So we needed to sell that. You can't have the stuff you have. It's not going to work. So there's always there's little specifics to everybody's plan. But what we did, like I said, we just entered into short-term bonds and then completely got back in, and his accounts are all positive. They would have been negative had I just reallocated and rode down for 4 or 5 days. So that's, it's just hard to be an investor, which is why you should hire a professional investor. It's just hard. Unless you have the emotional capacity to seriously buy an index fund and not look at it and not touch it. And I don't know how you do, because I still get the thoughts that run through my head. It's hard.
Especially with the noise that's out there nowadays, right? Yeah, I mean, access to fucking every other video, which half of them are AI now, right? You think they're bombing the Middle East and it's just a video game AI, jet getting shot down or something like that, right? Like there's so much noise out there. This is what market makers rely on, is people, chasing FOMO or, dumping on fear when it's generally the opposite, right? So that's where it's really interesting right now to see how the markets are responding. When you and I were just talking, like, this is why you got to have a plan. Just eliminate the noise. Yeah. Just stay heads down on executing the plan right now.
I would be scared if I had something, but I didn't know what it could do.
Yeah.
So that does create anxiety and fearfulness. But that's, again, and then the other thing is, taking it a step further when you have a plan, committing to the plan. Because when I set up financial plans, I always illustrate, hey, here's a negative 13% year. Like it's going to happen. It's if you work with an advisor and they've showed you like a linear rate of return, which is like the average rate of return just in a straight line, or you not taking losses and it's not a fixed insurance product or something, that's a load of crap. You're going to lose money investing at some point. That's been there multiple times with me.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm net positive. All my clients are net positive that have been with me long enough. You got to ride through market cycles. It's part of investing. setting the expectation that that's going to happen, and then what you're doing. Why would we sign up to go through the volatility? Well, that's the price we got to pay for this. We have to ride that out to get this. If you want a 16, 17, 18% rate of return, 20+% rate of return, we have to do that. You're going to have to ride down. You're going to have to double down on your bet when the market's down. You're going to have to trust in the process. It's hard to do, especially when you've never done it before. It's also, how hard is it to convince somebody to, like, you take them, you educate them on real estate, you get them all lined up, time to buy your first property.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's hard in single family. I can't even imagine in commercial. Strap up and put a couple $1 million on your neck. But the numbers make sense.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a really hard. We've talked about this for years, but the growth zone is always uncomfortable when you don't have a prerogative or an idea of where you're going to be because you haven't been there before. When you've never been in the stock market with Trump in the office and we're going and having a campaign over in Iran, it's hard to have an idea of what that's going to look like, especially when the talking heads are saying, "Oh, fear this, oh, fear that." But they don't care about you. They don't know you. They don't know your situation.
What is the VIX at right now?
Probably like 21.
The VIX today is at 25.
Is it still at 25 though right now?
Yeah. It says as April. Yeah. Yep.
Go pull the
VIX. It's up 6.6% today. 25.
Go pull the VIX from March of 2025. It was at 42.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's all very relative.
Half the volatility, and quite frankly, we were down like almost 20.
Much bigger.
We were down like 16, 17% this time last year.
Well, let's talk about
another thing that I would like to point out. Well, because I'm at Target the other day and fucking Karen's walking around putting stickers up on the thing and it says, "I ran your gas prices up." My lady,
she needs.
Where were you?
She's got the ammo now
in 2024. Like
that's
when gas was quite literally $6.70 a fucking gallon, and we were putting the Biden stickers. I did that on there. Where were you then? It's so funny that
everybody has their day, right? Okay, so let's talk about a few headlines because I'm just curious on your thoughts on how these could potentially play out. If there's any concerns. So
I'm going to be woefully chill, I bet.
The Strait of Hormuz, they basically said, "Hey, we're not going to take these fees in the petrodollar anymore. That's not our preferred currency. We either want it trading in the yuan or USDT in stablecoin."
Who's they?
Iran.
What financial power does Iran have?
That's a good question, right? I mean, I think that's where people read the headline and go, "Is this a push away from the petrodollar?"
Let me help you guys. Zero. They absolutely have zero. Do you realize where the world trades every day? 70% of the wealth in the world. Do you know what trades every day? New York City. Do you know where New York City is at? Is it in Iran? Is there a place in Iran called New York City? No, it's in the United States. There's nowhere else in the world you can get access to wealth, transparency, regulate, even though it still, is somewhat unfair. It's the most fair that exists. The world trades in the United States. Until that doesn't happen, all that chat, where's BRICS?
Yeah, that's another.
Where's BRICS at? All this. Where's the Belt Road Initiative that China said was going to change the world? Where's all that at? It's all just bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't know why people even that's why I get somewhat spicy about it. I'm like, they're constantly saying, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like living in California and waiting for the speed rail. That shit ain't fucking coming. That was approved in 2006. 20 years later. And they literally just did it. We're $160 billion under budget. Where the fuck did the rest of the money go? If you call, guess what? Let me tell you something. Call a motherfucker over here from Italy and tell him to build a train and they'll do it in 6 months.
I believe that.
I don't get that. So again,
well, on the BRICS topic, do you think that, with the way the U.S. kind of went over into Iran unprovoked. Now the impact that it's having on Asia and Europe.
I don't think he went over to the Iran unprovoked. I have no problem,
Well, I know that. I'm just saying that's their stance, right? That's the narrative you hear coming out of Italy and France and Canada and all of our quote unquote allies.
Those are all run by the libs, dude.
I understand.
Wrong.
I'm just saying.
Completely provoked, and anybody who says the otherwise is an absolute asshat.
Well,
they're enriching uranium. Their propaganda that they are putting out, not us. Is their leader walking into rooms with a nuclear, and it's not like oh, they're just saying, this is not the Bush era. There's not no WMDs that we're looking for. They have it. They have uranium and they're trying to enrich it. Publicly are saying that. Excuse me, not publicly. Well, yeah, actually kind of now they are. And they want to do it to create missiles and bombs so people stop fucking with them. That's what they want. Okay? We can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. We can't allow that to happen. It's just not good for us. It's not good for us. It's not good for the world. It's just not going to happen. So they may have not flown over to the United States and done anything, because I'll give you a hint, they can't. But we can.
Yeah.
You reached out and showed them that we will touch them wherever we want to, and good on them. They shot down a couple of our planes. I mean, they've done stuff back to us but clearly the dominant side in this interaction has been the United States and Israel. I mean, Israel is this tiny little country, absolutely just wiping them off the face of the earth. I mean, the terrorists that they're going for. So again, I don't believe we went over there unprovoked. Now, would I have rather we not did anything? Yeah, I would. But at the same time, would I? What happens in 6 months if they did get uranium enriched? Do you want to know how much more bad that would be than now? Because then we'd actually be talking about going, like, it wouldn't be, oh, hey, we're going over there to drop some bombs to blow up. So it would be like, yo, we're going over there and like, they might launch a nuke. Like, hey, this is our like, they're crazy enough to do that shit. So same thing of like, that's why we don't mess with North Korea. You don't poke the bear when the bear is crazy enough to do stupid stuff. They have nuclear capabilities. Easier to play nice. Hey, we don't like you. We don't have to have trading relationships with you, but we're not going to piss you off just to piss you off. Okay, you already have it. Iran doesn't have it. We have to do it, and nobody has the balls to sell it to them because they know what we would do to them. So it had to happen.
So then, in your opinion, global economic power shifts that narrative.
There's no global economic power shift.
As long as everything, what if it doesn't happen?
We're the global economic power, military,
I agree.
economically.
I'm just playing a little devil's advocate here, right? And just saying, like, if it doesn't go according to Trump's plan and the ultimate end game that he's hoping for,
he's going to He's not going to nuke him. He'll blow him. He will. I have no doubt.
Oh, I don't doubt that either. I'm just saying, what does that do for America's image throughout the world?
Definitely don't fuck with us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would say. We went in, we were very clear on what we wanted. We dictated a very fair term. You were not reasonable. Goodbye.
Yeah.
How it should be. Exactly how it was in World War II. Exactly how it was in World War I. That's what we said to Japan. That's what we said to Germany. That's what we said. No, you cannot be this way. So either you're going to change or you're not going to exist. The only regime that pushed it the furthest, further than I've seen anybody push it, and Iran's getting close, is Japan. Go ask Japan how that looks, how that works. They had one of the largest standing militaries in the world, with the largest standing military in the world. Statistically, we were not in a good position, okay? And we whooped that ass. So you just go ask the last person that did that. Back when we had way less technology, the Industrial Revolution was really kicked off into high gear by that. You can't, that's what it would say. And you know what? Every liberal and left-leaning leader in the world would be pissed off, but it would be a clear message to the likes of Russia and China and any of our other enemies. If you think, here's a taste of what we'll do. Here's a taste, and we will show you in Venezuela. We will come to your front door. I don't know what they did to him. They discombobulated them. I think that's the word he used. We will discombobulate you. So I don't have any problem with it. When it was bad to project power to get peace, which is what you have to do, I don't know. I got no problem with it.
Well, let's talk about economy-wise. Powell got up and spoke again this last week and said, one of the concerns is still CPI inflation, which we saw. I know that's coming out this week, right? And it looks like expectations, what was it? Was it 3.7?
3.3. Year over year.
Okay, so 3.3 year over year. Obviously, oil is, somewhat impacting that. But at the same time, it's still pretty early in the game to see it impacted that much. We also saw Powell kind of say, hey, another big concern that we have is there's been zero net job creation in the private sector. And that's a concern around the strength of the consumer and the private sector economy. Are those things that, well, what's your perspective around those kind of two components of inflation and specifically kind of the strength of the consumer and the private sector job-wise?
I think job-wise, obviously that's important, and I can't argue that fact. We want to see net job creation, and we don't want to see them be temp or government jobs. We want them to see private sector jobs because small businesses drive the economy. What was the flip side of that question?
CPI.
Oh, CPI. Well, the other thing I was going to say on that. With that all being said, we have consumer spending still was strong.
Yeah.
So if we see like that unemployment rate going up and we see consumer spending going down, that's going to be the real combo that I'm not super happy about, but that's not happening right now. CPI, I think, is the expectation, and I'm hoping the expectation, I think, is a little hot. I don't think it's going to be 3.3. I'm thinking closer like 2.7 to 2.9, still sub 3. And I think if we get anything below or in line, the market's going to react well to that. That's going to be indicative that, again, if we're making assumptions based off of, the data that's out there, hey, it says it's going to be, oh, look, it's not, then that tells you that the people that are putting the assumptions out have their math wrong. And so you can kind of fade them and essentially make money. So by me putting money into the market last week, even though I already had clients' money in the market, but I'm talking about more money, that was me fading the news like, I don't think this is good. This is about to end. Probably 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't want to play that it's going to move too fast.
You think it's just going to kind of chop around until we see anything? Or you see once we see some gradual bumps along the way to
anything definitive is going to move it definitively negative. Hey, we do a strike. I'm going to look like a dumbass. We get what I think, and I still think pause is number 1, ceasefire is number 2 most likely, and then the strike is the third. I don't think he's going to do nothing. But I think the third least likely thing is that he does the strike. Iran wants to negotiate. They want to make it look like they don't want to.
Yeah, I was going to say on their socials and everything forward-facing, they're saying, we're not talking this and that, but then there's a lot of back channels that are going, no, there's actually some relatively productive conversations.
Well, when the non-interested, Pakistan's interested, they want, that's regional peace.
Yeah.
When Pakistan is like, hey, there's progress being made, I'm telling you right now, it's not us giving concessions. I mean, to a degree, compromise is happening.
Sure.
But we're getting more of what we want than what they want. It's going to be a Chinese negotiation where we leave the table slightly dissatisfied, but I don't think as dissatisfied as Iran is going to leave the table. But both parties are going to say publicly, I think at the beginning, their pieces and let things settle, and then they'll start stoking up negative comments on each other at some point later. That's my guess. I don't think Iran will ever like the United States. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't really see that either. Talking about the bond market, is there any concerns around the bond market? I know, not that it's really relative or specific to us, but the Japanese bond yields hit new all-time highs. and they were kind of spiking based on oil and the escalation in the war over the weekend. Is there any concerns around the bond market? Is there any concerns around, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon's warned about kind of the private credit market crisis?
He's probably loading up on it because he was loading.
I was gonna say, I know they got a big position.
Their Bitcoin spot ETF just tomorrow.
Is there any concerns on the private credit market crisis? Any of that kind of stuff being?
None of that has any validity.
What about subprime? Subprime loan delinquency rate reached its highest level in 11 years.
2015, I don't know. I think we were in a bull market in 2015.
If it compared to, I think, the 2007-08 crisis, it was kind of like mid-2007 phase relatively, but again, very different times. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to...
equity in houses than there was back... There's a lot more cushion.
Yeah. What about your thoughts on stagflation?
No, because again, the last reported inflation year over year was like 2.3. It was trending down. Inflation, does a little bit of a bounce, but I don't think there's going to be I don't think any of the negative news is going to happen because negative things happen because nobody knows they're going to happen.
Yeah.
That's like one of the biggest indicators to me that it's not going to happen is people are telling you it's going to happen. Because if it was that easy, everybody would just avoid it.
Yep.
It's like going into your house and be like, if you leave the house today in your car, you're going to get in a car accident. You're not going to drive. I just don't think negative is going to happen.
Okay. Well, in terms of rate cuts, because obviously we've seen that dot plot.
No, yeah, I'm not changing.
That's changed pretty significantly. They're dropping off. We're pausing. Whoa, we might have a hike. Like, what are you're still sticking to?
Cuts in July.
Cuts in July.
Wait till you see when.
Is there any news or chatter around when that chair appointment is going to happen? Is it still Warsh?
My guess is they'll end the conflict in Iran, and then to divert attention away from that, they'll announce that who that is officially. And I'm of the opinion, whoever that is, the first thing they're going to do is like cut rates.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to cut them as aggressively as people think they are, but I think they'll cut them by at least 0.25%. And I think they'll do maybe even 0.5%. And I think they'll do it in July. And the market's going to love it if they do it.
Yeah.
Oh, the market would love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, because as of right now, the market's kind of priced out that.
Yeah, but if you look like 2 years into the futures market on that, it says then next September they're going to cut by 0.5% and they're going to raise by 0.5% in December. That makes no sense. So the futures is all out of whack. When the curve looks funky like that, it doesn't have any sort of like reason behind it. Why would they cut by 0.5% and then raise by 0.5% 2 years later? It doesn't really make sense. So there's some funk stuck in that futures market. And again, that's why it's futures. It's all betting.
Yeah.
Like this is people guessing based on the information today. We get a ceasefire, that's going to completely flip that off on its head potentially. And so we have to check it kind of daily and weekly because it moves that fast.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's shift over to crypto a little bit. Crypto just entered the $13 trillion mortgage machine. Coinbase and Fannie Mae partner with Better Home and Finance to launch Bitcoin-backed mortgages for U.S. homebuyers. Borrowers can pledge Bitcoin or USDC as collateral for down payments, allowing them to keep their assets and avoid triggering taxable sales. Basically, they don't have to sell their crypto. They can just use it as collateral. It can sit on their balance sheet, and banks will take that into account now. So the loans are structured as conforming mortgages backed by Fannie Mae, meaning they follow standard underwriting rules and carry the same protections as traditional home loans. The product targets everyday buyers locked out by down payments. There's obviously a lot of people that have some exposure to crypto now that wasn't being accounted for in underwriting practices with banking in a lot of ways, just due to the volatility and the risk that happens with those. Now that is being taken into account, which kind of at least opens up the door and brings some additional benefits to people that may have some exposure or crypto in their portfolio. Better says 41% of U.S. families can't purchase homes due to lack of liquid cash, despite holding savings and other assets. Rising interest rates and home prices have tightened affordability, A buyer targeting a $400,000 home may struggle to source $40,000 in cash without selling assets and navigating tax and legal friction. This is an offering that brings crypto into mainstream housing finance, calling it as American as apple pie. So overall, I mean, I think that's a nice little development, moving in the right direction.
I don't think that's a negative. I think that people should be aware that's not like a life-changing concept. They do pledged asset lines of credit all the time.
Yeah. Well, and most people's exposure to crypto out of their overall portfolio of net worth is going to be relatively small.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like a massive needle mover, but it'll
help some people.
Yeah, it'll make a difference for some people. And I think, again, this is just one step in that direction that is somewhat merging these, two industries, that will be interesting to see, as you say, time will tell. CMBS distressed debt rate climbs to 12% in March. We are seeing a little bit of, pressure mounting in the commercial space. And we saw special servicing rates climb 11%. As we see a massive migration of loans out of standard repayment and into active workout or liquidation territory. This 9.6% delinquency cycle high suggests a looming repricing event that will likely force regional banks to tighten credit even further for the broader market. We've been talking about this for some time. I mean, I think we're in the messy middle of this whole commercial, mortgage turbulence for a lot of people that in those late innings of COVID, when everything was nice and juicy, purchasing, overpaying, overestimating in pro formas, and mortgage, debt maturing now. This is some of the stuff that we're starting to see with values haven't, gotten to a level, an income of these properties haven't gotten to a level where refinancing them allows them to do what they wanted to do. Values aren't there. They can't sell it. So they're somewhat stuck. And they're either not paying, they're trying to get workouts, they're giving keys back, they're getting foreclosed on. And this is just kind of a process in the, real estate cycle when you buy at the peak. I mean, it just is what it is. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today's show, and any predictions for the next week?
I would say that, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you don't have a plan, reach out to us. Me and my team would be happy to talk to you and getting you a plan set up. But stick to your plan. Make sure you get everything clear and concise so you can act upon it. And for people that are on the sideline that have cash that you could put to work, I would say to do so.
Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, don't forget to connect with Ryan and his amazing team. Text the word X-Ray to 844-447-1555 if you want to connect with me and my team. Deals to 844-447-1555. As always, keep investing in yourself and your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. We'll see you guys in next week's episode.
Cheers, y'all.